Hello, everyone. I'm Dumela. Good morning. Habari zenu. I am Professor Miyamoto, and I am the Director of Project. Thank you so much. Let me share my PowerPoint. Here we go. So this is the MEXT Scholarship to 2027 Introduction and Question and Answer session. And we are from the project called Study in Japan for Africa. Who are we? This project is initiated by the Japanese government, by the MEXT, Ministry of Education, Culture, Sports and Technology, is our boss. We are hired by the ministry. We come from a university, national university in Japan called Akita University. We have several coordinators in Kenya, in Botswana, and one in Japan. Today, on behalf of the government, we are going to have the question and answer session for you guys. Now, please be careful. This is an important notice. To make this session productive, all participants were requested to read the application guidelines thoroughly in advance. So we will not accept any questions that are already stated in the guidelines. Okay, we don't want to repeat the same question and answer. When is the deadline? The deadline differs from a culture to another. Please, everything is in the guidelines. Okay, so basics are in the guidelines, and we cannot answer the same questions over and over. Please be careful. Now, of course, let me try to give you the outline of a scholarship system. Many scholarships are offered by many various entities in Japan, but the major ones you can secure before you departure your country is, of course, the one from the government, MEXT. Embassy recommendation. There are two MEXT scholarships. One is called embassy recommendation. Another one is called university recommendation. But today we are going to focus on the embassy recommendation scholarship. We're not going to talk about university recommendation. Now, most importantly, you have to get the right information, because we've noticed there are a lot of false information circulating online, YouTubes and social media and everything. You have to get the correct information. There are major three organizations that you can get correct, proper information from. One, Japanese embassy in your country. Two, JASO. I will explain in detail later. And us, Study in Japan for Africa. We specifically focus on African students. Okay. The Embassy of Japan in your country has already announced that application period for the MEXT scholarship is open. I'm sure you guys got this information through the embassy website, but you have to be careful. Each country has a different deadline and different method of application submission. Some countries allow applicants to submit by email first, but some countries only allow submission by hand, the hard documents only in the first stage. So it's different from an embassy to another. Don't say, oh, why can't we do this when the other embassy is doing that and that? It's different from in each country. Please be careful. I'm just showing you the website of embassy in Botswana, and the other one is embassy in Kenya, just as an example. Okay. Number two, the official site by JASO it stands for Japan Student Services Organization. And this is the organization, a very an official organization that gives you a very general information on studying in Japan. I am showing you the first page of the JASO, and it shows the job hosting guide for international students study in Japan, official site, and Japan Alumni Global Network. So it has a lot of information. And you can go to the middle one, Study in Japan official website. Very important. And each embassy tells you to go to JASO site and get the guideline. Okay. Number 3 is us. We support African students in achieving your goal of studying in Japan. Okay, we will assist you how to find universities, the programs that suits your interest. So we are 3 at the moment, but we will be 4 later on. These are the coordinators in our project. And if you go to our website, you will find this, and you can easily find the program according to your interest. Okay, we'll show you later. Now the timeline of MEXT Scholarship is like this. Remember, this is just a general information that suits all the countries, but it differs from a country to another. So you have to check the embassy's website for the specific deadline. But anyway, there's a screening one, the first screening stage, that you submit your paper, and if you succeed, you will get the written exam, English and Japanese and other subjects, and you will get interview late June or July this year. Now, if you have passed all of this, then you will be contacted by the embassy to go for the screening stage 2. There you can contact a university that you want to go. You have to communicate with them before September. And then there will be a selection in Tokyo, the headquarters of the government ministry, by the end of October. And it takes time after this screening too to get the final results. It will be January, February next week. Then you will go to Japan next April or next fall, September. Okay, this is the timeline. It takes time because you have to go several stages. Now, qualification is different from depending on the project you are applying for. If you are applying for the post-studies, postgraduate programs, it's called research, category research. There is an age limit. You must be younger than 35, specifically born after this date. And also, you must have GPA of at least 3.5 on a 5.0 GPA scale. So that's about 70% and higher. Okay, very competitive, very difficult. For undergraduate program and a specialized training college program, you have to be under 25, though you are not requested to show your GPA. That's the difference, okay? But there is an age limit for each program. Most importantly, and we noticed many mistakes and the potholes, the shortcomings that you make is like this. Number 1, not many people read the guidelines very, very, very carefully. Guidelines are very important and everything, all the information is there. 2, prepare all the documents with plenty of time. Start getting your documents, including a recommendation letter from your advisor, right away. If you are seriously applying for the scholarship, you must start the document gathering and everything right now. Okay, number 3, creditability of each document is crucial. Certified documents. Many people submit their credentials, transcripts, a certificate of graduation, and so on by photocopying. Yes, of course, you have the only one original copy. You can't submit that. But you make the photocopy of the original certificate, then you have to get it certified by the university or by the school you lastly graduated from or by the local authority. Certification is very important. Original documents are always requested. Number 4. This is the crucial part for postgraduate students. Research proposal is very important. Some people submit like 20 pages of thesis. No, you can't do that. The guideline clearly says it must be fewer than 2 pages. So you revise your research proposal, read the previous literature, talk to an advisor in your field, in your country, and brush up your research proposal because this scholarship is very competitive. Number 5. Specify the reasons why you choose Japan. This goes to both postgraduate studies and undergraduate studies and especially training. Why you choose Japan? Why not other countries, European countries or UK, Canada, Australia? Why do you want to go to Japan? This is very, very important for you to specify. Also, number 6, we get many questions about written exam, English, Japanese, or other subjects. Check the past exams. They are available online. Check them and get it downloaded and try to solve the questions there. Then sometimes the question format is different from what you are familiar with. So familiarize yourself to the Japanese exam before you are called for the written exam. All right? Okay. So remember, reading and following the guidelines is the very first step to success. If you want more inquire, come to our website. You can come to study in Japan for Africa through this QR code, and we will help you to find the programs. Now, let's see the application form, actual application form, and check what you must be careful about. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sayaka. I'm an assistant professor from Akita University and now serving for the Study in Japan for Africa project. So from now, I would like to talk about how to make the effective application form. Let me share my presentation. How to make an effective application form? The main rule is do not guess what you have to write there. You have to always verify every answer in the guideline or instruction. Basically, all the information should be in the guideline or instruction. Prof. Miyamoto repeatedly mentioned that you check your guideline or look after the instruction. And it is very true. If you have a question, you must try to read carefully about the guideline and the instruction. That's the most important part. I've seen many students asking about recommendation letters and stuff, but if you read guideline very well, there are answers. So that's why we are asking you to read through the guideline first before you attend this meeting. The most important thing, and it's the very first step for you to reach the scholarship recipient, right? Before we go through the actual form, let me tell you the 5 major mistakes that can damage an application. Firstly, if you are writing with your hands, please write clearly in block letters. Each embassy receives more than hundreds of so many application forms. So if you are not writing clearly, it won't catch the eyes of the selection committees at all. they are reading hundreds of applications, so your application has to be eye-catching. Please try to write in the best handwriting as you can. If you are typing, be careful with the inconsistent formatting. Do not mix font or font size or style. For some columns, you make the font size 14, and then other column, you make the font size 8. It won't work. It doesn't look very nice and clear. So your form should look very clean and professional. So be careful about your formatting. Thirdly, don't leave blank boxes. Every checkbox matters. Even if you think it might not be important, it is important. That is why it's in the application form. So please fill all the boxes. All the boxes are, and then, oh, sorry. I will also explain, but you must fill the blank. If the blank is big, it means you need to write a longer statement. If blank is small, you don't need to write a longer statement, right? For the right, do not write outside the instruction. So you can write only what the form asks for in the correct box. Sometimes you might think, I want to add this information. You don't need to write extra information as long as you are not asked. Just follow the instruction of application form and guidelines. That's the information they need to see, right? And then lastly, please be careful with unofficial names. For instance, the school names or city names. Do not use, it's not formal, and sometimes some of the people do not know that. So please try to write formally and in the right correct name. So this is the general mistake many applications make. Now, I want to go through the actual application form. I'm repeating the same thing, but firstly, you must go through the instructions very well. It clearly says type or write neatly by hand in block letters. Use Arabic numerals. Write years in Western calendar. Write proper nouns in full without abbreviation. Right. So those things, please be careful and please make sure to follow. That it is not the only for the selection committee to read your application well, but also it will give the selection committee a right impression about you. It will give the impression that you care about the details. You can read the instruction. You are someone who can follow the instructions, who can work with the paper, which is a great advantage during the selection procedure. So you have to go through the application. You have to fill one by one, going through all the instructions, right? The firstly, check your name. Write your name exactly as it appears on your passport. Be careful that it starts with surname, given name, middle names, right? There is no excuse that, but we normally write given name first. Yes, even if you write a given name first in your country, but here the application form is surname first, secondly given name, and the middle name. If it's written in the application form, just follow the application form, right? And also there is a age limit. You must check. This is this is the example of the application form for the research students. So it says applicants must have been born on or after April 2nd, 1992. So they have the different age limit for the undergraduate as well. But you have to make sure that you are eligible. There is no chance if you are not eligible. So just try to sneak around the numbers and stuff. Just because it doesn't really make you look quite honest if you are not seeing the application, reading the application very well, and then write a quite wrong information which is out of the line. Next, there is a address. Okay, first of all, I'm using the application form for the graduate school research student, but these informations are common even for the undergraduate students or even for those who are applying for the College of Technology. So please write your current address, and then number 2 is your address before departure for Japan. If you don't move before you go to Japan, you don't have to, you just tick the same as above. But the reason why they are this kind of column is that some people, for instance, maybe you are attending a university in a capital city and you applied for the scholarship, you got it. Before you go to Japan, you want to move back to your hometown. Maybe in that case, you need to write a different address as an address before departure for Japan. Right. So think about your situation. If you are in this situation, you can write the current address and the address before the departure. But if you are not, you should just tick the same as above. But all those things, you still read the instruction and then you will understand what you're supposed to write. Next, the email address. They also mention that you are suggested to write an email address that can be used before, during, after you stay in Japan. So think about which email address. Yeah, please make sure that you follow these instructions so that you won't be disappointed at the end. Even about the scholarship recipient, your experience of previously receiving the scholarship. If you have received any scholarship, please specify and write honestly. Those information are very important. And then read carefully again the instructions. Your academic report, there is also a long instruction you must read. But as long as you read, I think everything should be clear. Just want to mention one thing that the year and month of enroll, it says from the year and month. It's not month and year. So you just be careful. But as long as you see the guideline, as long as you see the application form, well, you can see what you will have to write. Correct. Yeah, here we come. So this is also part of the important part. This is for the research students. There is about the field of study and your work, previous work. It says be as detailed and specific as possible. So you see that the blank is quite big, meaning that you are required to write in details. You don't have to write one sentence in this box and leave the rest blank. You can try to write clearly and detailed within this box. If you are using the handwriting, please do not write with a pen from the beginning. Maybe you can write a draft and then make it on the paper. It has to be clear, but also it has to be written well. For the past work, you also need to write the subject of the books and thesis. It says write with the name, address of publisher, and the date of publication. So write according to the instruction. You don't have to write in your own way. Just follow the instruction and make it clear. That's how it looks easier to read to be read by the selection committee as well. For the research students, there is also employment record. You can write it. And then type of work. If your current work or the previous work is related to your research or somehow related to your research, please make sure to include the aspect how it is related to your research so that the selection committee can see that you are actually gaining the work experience in the field. If it does not relate to anything, you don't have to write in that way. And here comes the most important part. This is the most important for both undergraduate and research students. For the undergraduate students, the question and the column looks smaller and a bit different, but you see that there is also the blank for the motivation for studying in Japan. So it's give the same advice to you guys. So this is the most important, this is a Japanese government scholarship. So the government wants to see how they should fund you. Is it worth funding you? What kind of person are you? as a student. So you need to write. You need to, you don't have to just think easily. You can take time to think how you can write. You have to make a draft and then write it nicely. Right. Why you got interested in Japan? What was the trigger? When was the time you started to be interested in going to Japan? And then why do you want to study in Japan? Why do you want to study in Japan? Why is it important for your study to be studied in Japan out of any other countries? All those questions are very important. You have to take your time and then make a good statement because the selection committee will look at this part, the most important. Your study, why do you need to study this in Japan? What can you bring through your experience in Japan why do you want to study this? So all those questions, please take your time to think and write. As I said, you should even make a draft first. Don't take it easy and then take it. And then, as I said, the blank is bigger, so you have to fill in clear very well. You don't have to leave the blank, right? Oh, and then lastly, I need to mention about how to choose the universities. For the research students, there is a preference form that you can write the university you would like to apply for. But for the undergraduate, firstly, you don't need to specify the university you want to go. You actually need to specify which field of study do you want to do. So please check your application guideline and see what is your choice of your major and field of study. It says specify the reason why you selected each field of study and major. So this is the same as the why do you choose Japan as a destination to study graduate level education? You need to think, why do you want to study this field in Japan? For instance, if you want to do computer science, why do you need to go to Japan for computer science? You can do it in your country, or you can do it maybe in UK. Why not doing it in India? You need to think what Japan can offer you in a computer science field. And why do you think it's important to get this study, get this experience from Japanese universities? Like, again, the book is quite big, so you have to write well and fill the form. So I mentioned about the university. As I said, for undergraduate, you just need to specify the field of study you'd like to do. How does it work? So the firstly, the applicants choose their field and course and major from the application guideline. You don't need to choose the university. And then in the basic understanding of this MEXT Scholarship Embassy recommendation for undergraduates, they are expected to take the preparatory educational institution, which is like Japanese Language Institute, to study language for 1 year, right? And then after that, if you perform very well, you will be given the list of the universities which you choose, with study area you choose, and then you will be placed. But there is also another way. Most of the students from Africa go through this way, but they said once you pass once you became the scholarship recipient candidate, there is a way that applicants may apply for the direct placement, which means that when you receive the notification of becoming candidate for the recipient, you will be given a list of the universities which accept the direct placement without going through the Japanese language preparatory course. So if you apply for that way, you are not going to the Japanese language preparatory course, but you will be directed to the university undergraduate course. So at this stage of applying for MEXT scholarship, you do not need to have any specific universities yet. You will have to think about it once you pass the embassy screening, right? But for the research students, it's very different. I already mentioned about the placement preference sheet for the research students. When you apply for the MEXT scholarship for this time, you are also required to submit the placement preference with the name of actual universities. After you go through the first screening by the embassy, the selected applicants will be told that they can now become candidates by the embassy recommendation. So you can contact the university and request a letter of provisional acceptance. So you go to you are to contact with the university with this certificate of being MEXT scholarship candidate, recipient candidate. University would or professors will tell you that they can accept you as a student or they cannot. And then you need to get a letter of provisional acceptance. And then after this, the final placement will be decided by the MEXT. But mostly, basically, it will be for the universities which give you the letter of provisional acceptance. So for the research students, it's important to think about which universities you are interested in from the beginning. You can now start to do the research. And this is important because, as I wrote at the end, if no university accepts the applicant, the application may be rejected. Meaning that even if you pass the embassy selection, if you didn't manage to get the letter of provisional acceptance from the university, if you didn't receive any positive answers from any professors, you will miss these opportunities of scholarship. Right. So you need to also study very well about what each university offers and which professor can be your supervisor according to your research interest. So as I said, I have been actually repeating almost the same thing again, but lastly, every detail matters. Sometimes I feel like when I receive the inquiry about the MEXT scholarship, I feel like many students take it easy when they take the quite easy. For instance, I would say for the recommendation letter from the university, the guideline clearly said the recommendation letter from the president or dean or the academic advisor at the current or last university attended. So if the guideline mentioned like that, you don't have to think about any other person. What if? No, what if? The guideline said recommendation letter from the president, either president or dean, or the academic advisor at the current or last university attended. So that's all. You have to follow, and you have to follow the instructions very carefully. Please keep it in mind, and then write the application very well. Prepare all the necessary documents, as Professor Miyamoto mentioned. If it needs to be certified, make sure it's certified. So submit an application you can be proud of. It's not very competitive scholarship, but it's worth trying. It will cover everything of your study. So you have to work hard for that. All the best. And I hope we will see you in Japan soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kono-san. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So some applicants are living or working outside their home country. So for the embassy recommendation, should they apply through the embassy of Japan in their country of nationality, or can they apply through the embassy in the country where they currently live? Also, must they be physically present for the written exam and interview? Okay, Miyamoto-sensei, please.
Okay, the answer is you must apply from the embassy in your country, in your original national country. For example, if you are studying or working outside of your country, that you have to apply from your country. Okay, and written exams are done in the embassy in your country. Some embassies require you to submit the documents, hard copies. So you can either send by snail mail, but the written exams are to show that you are the actual person. There are so many frauds, and you have to be there to show up and take the exam. Yes.
Thank you so much. So Kono-san already and Sayaka-san already answered this question, but I want to ask it again, okay? Kono-san, can you hear us? So the question is, for graduate applicants, how can we write a strong research plan within only 2 pages, especially if our original idea is much longer or more technical?
Good question. Thank you very much. The most important thing is that you must remember that selection committee consists of the professionals who are not necessarily in your study area, right? Even if you are studying education, it doesn't necessarily mean that the selection committee will have the professionals from education area. Even if you are studying computer science, it doesn't necessarily mean that there will be a doctor or professor from the computer science. They are all the professionals. So you don't need to use the many terminologies in the field of study, but you have to write it towards the audience who are not from your own study area, right? So firstly, it's like that. It's actually very difficult because if you use the academic terminology, it contains a lot of concepts, so it's easier for you to explain. But for you to express the importance of your research, you need to write it in a simple terms to the professional people. That's quite difficult, but you have to try. Secondly, you might have already a proper maybe 10 to 20 pages research proposal, but this is a research plan. And as I said, it's not to be read by the professional from your study field. So you have to simplify. You have to simplify and pick up the core concept of your research. What is the research background? Why do you need to do this study? Why is it important to do this research for your country? And how do you do it? And what are you expecting from this research result? And to write these questions in a simple term with a convincing way, you need to do a quite deep literature review. You have to understand what it is discussed in the academic field and why do you need to do it in Japan. So you need to explain the importance of your research in a simple term, not with a complicated academic terminology. And then you need to make the clear structure of research background, the research questions, the methodology, and the expectation, right? And then you need to do deep literature review. Even the selection committees are not from your study area. They are the professionals. So if they read your research plan, they will understand how much you understand your study area or how important your study will be. And then lastly, please do not use AI at all. If you just copy and paste
True.
what the AI said, it's easier to be detected. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So can they ask 2 more questions? Miyamoto Sensei and Kona-san, is it okay?
Yes.
Okay, so for Miyamoto Sensei, there are one question. We had one question. So what are the most common reasons applicants fail at the first screening, even when they seem academically qualified? So the embassies are different, but how do you think? So it's really hard to answer, but they want to know our participants. So what are the common reasons applicants fail at the first screening, even when they seem academically qualified?
Well, as we have been repeatedly saying, most documents are not arranged according to the guidelines. Some application forms are missing some information, some missing some certified documents. Yeah, those are the very common mistakes.
Thank you. Okay, so, Kono-san, can you hear us? Okay, one more question. Is it okay or not? But they want to know. Okay, how should applicants explain why Japan in convincing way without writing only general reasons such as Japan is developed, Japan is beautiful, or Japan has advanced technology like that?
Good question again. Thank you. The most important thing is you have to think about your own experience. Yes, Japan can be high technology, and it can be a reason that you are interested in Japan. But don't just write that because Japan offers high technology. How did you get to know that Japan has a high technology? What kind of technology did you see? Why did you think it's exciting or interesting? So think about your own experience and connect it to your research. I think that's the most important thing. Or maybe you might be interested in sustainability studies in Japan. Why? Because I read the article about how Japanese people do this and this and this, which we are not doing in our country. I want to learn how they do it and what is the effect. How can we learn from this experience? That kind of thing. So you need to think your actual experience, and then you need to relate it to your research interest. That's the most important thing. Yes, Japan is advanced, but why do you know it? Why did you get interested in it? And there are many other countries which have advanced technologies as well. So why Japan, not other countries? So that's how you can write the convincing reason to choose Japan.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
That's completely understandable. Okay, great. I want to ask Miyamoto Sensei if you have anything want to share or want to say to our lucky 100 persons.
Very much, yes. Thank you all for coming to this session today and for asking very important questions. We try to answer in the chat box, and I know each program, each country has a different condition. For example, someone said why there is no scholarship for graduate in Botswana. I am very sorry, but it's not available right now. In some countries, they have research program, they have undergraduate, they have special technical college, but some don't. So it's not, we can't answer why, because each embassy has different available slots. Okay, but other than that, we are trying to answer the questions, and if you want to ask more, please ask the local embassy. That is the most official organization you can rely on. And remember, the embassy gets thousands of application forms, these thick hard copies, and they and the reviewers have to go through all the documents. So you just show them how well prepared you are, and once you prepare everything in a tidy way, and your academic transcript is high enough, the qualification is high enough, I'm sure you will succeed in the first screening. So please, we wish you the very best of it, and 頑張ってください. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So that's it for today. So I send all our SNS and YouTube and WhatsApp channel through our chat. So please go to the chat and please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, and also YouTube. So we will share a lot of information through our SNS from now. And also please visit our website. So you can search it from the Google Study in Japan for Africa. So you will find our website. And also we are trying to renovate our website soon. So please find our website. Kona-san, Sayaka-san, please say goodbye to our luckiest 100%.
So thank you very much for attending our session, and I hope all of you are going to pass the application selection with a perfectized application. All the best. Don't forget that you must follow all the details which are instructed in the guideline and instruction. All the best. Thank you.